Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Please like, subscribe, become a member, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and leave a donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. Now look, Turki and Dana, will it work? That's the question that we have. I find this whole union very interesting, especially when you have a guy like Dana White who's saying, look, I like taking things that are broken, things that can't be fixed, and I'm the guy who's going to fix them. There's no way I would get into something that I couldn't run and control, suggesting that he's getting involved with boxing because he feels he can fix it. Now, the recent announcement of Dana White entering the boxing world has some people, I'm not going to say on eggshells, but they feel like it's a slap in the face. But what it does is it marks a paradigm shift for the sport. Now, Dana White partnering with Turki Al-Sheikh and TKO Holdings. Look, this new boxing league represents something that gets some fans excited, gets some fighters excited. But the bottom line is it represents one of the most significant developments in combat sports in recent years. Informally dubbed as TKO Boxing, because that name may change, the league aims to revamp the broken world of the sweet science. Now, I'm going to tell you, I got to see, this happen, because some people are saying that boxing's not broken. What I would tell you is, I don't know if I'm qualified to say something's broken or not. I don't know if any of these YouTubers are qualified to say anything's broken or not. But what I would say is, boxing seems to thrive when there's money flowing into it. And with what Dana White is suggesting, it looks like they're going to continue to flow money into boxing, but not as much. And they're looking to kind of apply it. I would even say a tourniquet to stop the hemorrhaging of money into the sport and to kind of gain some kind of control like what he has in the UFC. Now, in the current system, boxers are signed to a promotional deal that could include big players. We know right now, Matchroom, Queensberry, those are probably the two biggest right now. Then you got Golden Boys and a few more. Moreover, multiple sanctioning bodies like the WBO, WBC, IBF, and WBA have been a glaring concern for the sport owing to the multiple champions and convoluted red taping that prevents a particular weight class from having one single undisputed king. This issue is further compounded by the sheer number of the said classes, which amounts to 17 at the moment. This divides the top talent and also limits high-profile matchups. However, one of the biggest concerns in the world of boxing remains fighter pay. For the casual fans, things seem smooth, but the reality is darker than one may like to think. Up-and-coming boxers end up making only $1,000 to $4,000 a fight. Talk about peanuts, people, and taking it to the stupid. Well, White has promised to put an end to this chaos. While this might be something new for the fans and even the boxers, former UFC fighter Josh Thompson thinks this will be a success. On his Weighing In podcast, the show producer displayed the proposed pay scale for fighters in White's boxing promotion. Now, for those of you out there who aren't aware, the salary is going to be $20,000. Now, the class of fighter is going to be 10 rounds, unranked fighter. Then $50,000 for a fighter who's ranked by the company from 5 to 10. $125,000 if you're ranked by the company from number 3 through 4. $375,000 challenging for company championship. Then $750,000 defending the company championship. Now, we didn't even get to $1 million, so that's crazy. But anyway, man, there are a lot of people who've taken notice of this and have concerns. But even that guy Big John McCarthy had something to say, man. Now remember, he was a referee for the UFC for a long time. And now when you listen to him now, this is what he said. He said what it is, that it is for younger fighters. These are for fighters coming up that are never going to see money trying to box on the undercard of a Mayweather fight. Those fighters are going to make 1,000 and 1,800 and 800. That's what this whole misconception is about, that boxers get paid all the time. No, they don't. I know they are not going to have 14 fights on a card because there's too much time. It just takes forever to go 10 rounds. So they'll probably start going with 5 to 7 fights a card, where you'll end up watching young, talented fighters come up. They can make those numbers pointing towards the chart that I just mentioned. He continued by saying, I've already seen plenty of the media, I've already seen plenty of people complaining that, oh, they're not going to get top-level boxers. What you guys are missing, combing over, is the fact that Turki Al-Sheikh and Dana, if they want a fighter, they will go get it. They will negotiate a separate deal for that fighter. Now, that's a very good point, because you can see that they'll have this constant pool of fighters who they sign to what could be long-term contracts. And they could pull over some of the bigger names where they negotiate deals that are independent of the pay scale that I just covered. The younger stars are going to get this type of salary, and then those younger stars will become big names. And they'll end up making what guys like John Jones, with guys like GSP, they're going to end up making those. But they're going to wait to build those guys up under their own promotion so that those boxers don't know anything else. But Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh, it's a brilliant plan, is what John McCarthy was saying. Now, what I do know is that the league is really placing a strong emphasis on developing young boxers and nurturing their talent over the years. While Thompson acknowledges that they may earn less initially, he believes in the structured setup will ultimately benefit them as they progress in their careers. Now, for me, I mean, maybe they will, but I don't see them getting the opportunity like an Edgar Berlanga did kind of early in his career to go fight the biggest star in the sport of boxing and make, huge money. With this league, I just don't know if those kind of opportunities will present themselves. However, the concept hasn't been without its critics, kind of like De La Hoya. But De La Hoya doesn't like Dana White, so I don't expect him to say anything. But despite the backlash, Dana White has found an unexpected supporter in some of the guys who have worked with him and have not always agreed with the way he does business. Okay, and I think that's good to know. But let me click off of this. But the bottom line is this, man. Turki Al-Sheikh doesn't like the fact that people are here scoffing at the pay scale, okay? Because a lot of people, like, again, and boxers, they just weren't thrilled when they saw that chart that was leaked about those leaked purses, you know what I'm saying? But for unproven fighters, I think it's fantastic. But I do think guys like Gervonta Davis, Canelo Alvarez, and other big names in the sport, like they said, I think once they start to understand what's going on, they'll realize that with this TKO group, they'll bring those fighters over and they'll probably still pay them the kind of money they're accustomed to if Turki Al-Sheikh wants them. But I could see where it could be millions, but if Dana White has anything to say, this is where Turki Al-Sheikh going to be put in a tough spot, But he came out and he was talking about some of the information being shared about the league is factually inaccurate. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what's accurate or what's inaccurate. You know what I'm saying? But I do know the pay scale, that's what has everyone in an uproar. Now, the contract stipulates that the purses will be increased based on the fighter's ability to crack the top 10 of the company and climb through the rankings. But the bottom line is, to get to $750,000, that's when they're defending the championship. So you got to get to championship level to just earn $750,000. Now, the fighters who join, they're going to have to commit to a 3-year term following their first bout. And they must stay on board for 2 years following their signing, described as the effective date in the contract. This means that the first 3 years of a fighter's contract with TKO, they will have exclusive rights to his in-ring endeavors. Doesn't say her, it says his. So that means they're not even looking at women right now. This will also likely include likeness rights for video games and other products. So if you sign with them and you become an attraction, they're going to sit there, man, and use your name and profile to make money. And it's very similar to what the UFC currently has, you know what I'm saying? But I just think we just have to sit back and see exactly how they're going to move, because TKO is likely going to heavily invest in marketing and promoting the fighter story, while likely also giving them training access to the Performance Institute and other facilities for help. So they're probably, the way they're going to pour into these fighters, they probably will have fighters who don't want to leave, because they're going to be housed in the best facilities, get trained in the best facilities, be around all kind of world athletes, man. And there's going to be a lot of money bubbling around them. Doesn't mean they're going to be getting it, but there's going to be a lot of exposure, a lot of opportunities. And it's really going to be an experience for these guys, you know what I'm saying? But let's not jump the gun to say that this is great or good or bad, because the TKO Boxing League is not expected to really start until 2026. So, you know, the guys, the secret society, the guys behind the scene, the puppet master, the string pullers, key decision makers, you know, they're going to have some time to scout talent and fighters. And they're going to look for guys with good, interesting stories, man, that they can sell to the public. You know, this is my opinion, man. I think it's almost certain the promotion won't be able to snag the biggest names. Like, I can't see them doing that. But they'll need to build these fighters that they're going to canvas the world for. They're going to have to build those fighters themselves. So I fully expect TKO to lean heavily on influencers to grow the brand overall and each fighter individually. So you could see some of those guys from, people aren't talking about this, from that misfit of boxing, man, coming over to that TKO group. Although Turki Al-Sheikh doesn't want to work with him, you can see some guys who, you know, have a Ryan Garcia. Matter of fact, they may be looking more for like a Ryan Garcia type fighter. Huge platform, huge profile, outstanding talent, and a guy like that they can bring on who, as far as marketing them, it becomes a breeze because they've already done that for themselves. But anyway, man, the bottom line, when it comes to the contracts, the company is going to guarantee boxers opportunities to participate in bouts every 5 months during the term commencing with the first bout, and shall make good faith efforts to offer the boxer opportunities to participate in 4 bouts during the first year. So these guys in the first year have an opportunity, man, again, you know, to make about $100,000, you know, and I think that's pretty cool. But you know, some fighters don't even make that their whole career. Some of them, they get into bad contracts and they get screwed. I personally know somebody who was fought for Nigeria, went to the Olympics, and he lives out here, you know, close to me. His sons don't box, but he told me, man, he's like, he would have a fight lined up, and he would go show up, and he wouldn't fight because the opponent would drop out, but he would still get his money. And he said he just got tired of it. He said that happened a lot with him. Fighters would just pull out last minute out of fear or whatever, but he would get paid, but he just developed a sour taste in his mouth about boxing and the politics of boxing, and he gave it up, you know. And I thought that was unfortunate. But anyway, there's a lot going on here. It sounds to me like they really want whatever roster they put in place to remain active. And if that roster can remain active, it can increase the exposure and help to expand the profiles. But I wonder, when boxers participate in a bout, which is the main event of a company event and distributed on pay-per-view in the U.S., I wonder if the parties are going to agree on a guaranteed purse or a net profit participation. Like, I wonder how they're gonna work that. You know, that's what I want to know. I don't know. Maybe Turki Al-Sheikh doesn't want to quite drop that pay-per-view model yet. Because remember, Turki Al-Sheikh was basically really slashing prices on the pay-per-view events, thinking that would attract more viewers to pay. But the bottom line is people ain't paying that shit anyway. And I'm 100% sure all these guys out here talking about they don't use Fire Sticks are full of shit. I'm 100% sure. I don't believe it. They're saying whatever they have to say. They're full of shit. You know what I'm saying? I just don't believe it. Anyway, man, let's see where this goes. Because I think it's good to have a company that's trying to lock down opportunities for boxers to participate, especially the first year if they get 4 fights, making good money. I just wonder how many of the fights are going to be held in Saudi Arabia. That's what I think. But bottom line, I don't. Just me as a boxing fan, I say let's see what happens, because just knowing these guys who get picked up are going to make more money in those first 4 fights than they probably make, unless they were just a superstar coming out the Olympics. Their contracts are different, but just a guy coming off the street. I just think that's good, man. So when it comes to this model that we're seeing, I don't know enough about it, but I don't hate it necessarily. Remember, I'm a retired military guy. I understand pay scales. I understand, you got to work your way up, get promoted. When you get promoted, the more money you make. You win fights, the more money you'll make. So I get it. It's a pay scale. And with me, I had to go from E1 through E9. So I know that if your effort is greater, your reward will be greater. That's what we said in the military. And the same thing with anything in life. But in particular, in this situation, for these fighters, if your effort is greater, your reward will be greater. But I just think where they're going to struggle is if you have somebody who's proven that their effort is greater than everyone else, and they've already been a champion or unified champion, a multiple weight division champion. I just wonder how they're going to, attract somebody like that. Look, the truth is most fighters aren't Canelo, they're not Tank, but there are a lot of fighters out there who are like a Charlo, who are like a Keith Thurman, who are like a Boots Ennis, who are like some of these fighters out here who have names, they're respected, and they're used to fighting for good money. You can't just come out here now and think you can pick up somebody like that for $750,000. Like that's just, it's just not going to work. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's see what happens. Curious to see what kind of organization this is going to evolve into. But if you listen to what's his name, Dana White, Dana White's going to tell you, there needs to be fair compensation for all fighters. But at the end of the day, he's not just trying to give up more money than what he feels a fighter deserves. Those are Dana White's words, man. And he doesn't agree with it. But anyway, Dana White can do and say what he wants. Unless he's going to get an opportunity to prove to the world that he can, fix what many people feel is broken. And that's boxing. Y'all keep cool, Turki and Dana. Will it work? And let's give them an opportunity. See what happens. In the breeze.